Sure. My name is Beverly Teresa. I'm a social media consultant based
Mm-hmm.
out of Edmonton, Alberta.
Mm-hmm.
I help businesses basically step up their game on social media.
Okay, how is that done?
Uh, so I create strategies for them, um, planning and goals and things like that. I sometimes do social media management for them where I pretend to be them on social media.
Mm-hmm.
And I also do training workshops. I speak at conferences, etc.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds like a wide load of things that that go
Yeah.
under the social media strategy. So what inspired you to get started?
It was an accident, I guess. I've been on Twitter since 2008,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess like a couple years after being on Twitter, businesses were like how can I use Twitter to reach an audience? How are other businesses reaching them? And then it was kind of like, oh, I can make money from doing this. Like that's pretty sweet.
Uh-huh.
And then I worked in marketing for a little bit, and then I worked at commercial real estate firm. This is a really long story. And then I had like my quarter life crisis. And so I went back to school
Uh-huh.
and then I got approached by an agency to start their social media department. So then I started it there. And then after working there for 2 years, I launched onto my own because I
Mm-hmm.
was getting demand from clients to work with me directly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's pretty cool. So what skills are needed to become a social media strategist?
Marketing skills.
Marketing skills, okay.
And like actual experience running business accounts. So it's
Mm-hmm.
one thing to be really good at using social media for personal use. It's
Mm-hmm.
entirely different when you're managing it for a business. Like there's a lot of responsibility, there's a lot of strategies that go into it,
Mm-hmm.
and having hands-on experience will trump any sorts of like schooling almost.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So when you go to school, you said you take marketing. Marketing is the degree or the subject that you would take to become going to this profession?
I mean, for me, when I was younger, because I'm
Mm-hmm.
like 30, turning 34, I'm
Mm-hmm.
so old.
I know.
Social media marketing wasn't really a thing when I was that young.
Mm-hmm.
So really, I took marketing at Nate under their business admin program,
Mm-hmm.
and then I just kind of fell into social. The one thing to keep in mind is if you go back to school, or
Mm-hmm.
sorry, if you're taking schooling for social media, by the time you graduate, it's going to be different. Like things have already changed because digital marketing moves at such a fast pace.
Mm-hmm.
There's like, in You can try and keep up, but you're not always going to be able to. That's why when people are like, I'm a social media expert, I'm like, maybe you were one yesterday, but
Yeah,
not today because
yeah,
it's changed so quickly.
mm-hmm. So how do you keep up to date with the evolving social media?
Really just talking with others in the same industry as me.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of my friends are digital marketers,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of sad, but good at the same time.
Yeah.
I also read a lot of blogs. I look on social media, like I follow a lot of social media people,
Mm-hmm.
and they tend to source and curate articles that I read as well. And when I'm
Mm-hmm.
sourcing for articles to post for my audience, I'm also learning as I'm finding them.
Mm, okay. Okay, that makes sense.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's not really like a course. Well, there are courses you can take, but for the hands-on practical things, there's nothing but experience that can you can learn from.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So what kind of soft skills does a person need to have to be successful in this profession?
Oh God. Communication
Mm-hmm.
skills.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Basically, I mean, you just have to realize that it's not called social media selling, it's called marketing, social media marketing. So
Mm-hmm.
going into it with that mindset instead of being like, okay, I'm just going to continuously push promotions and keep talking about like buy now, hire me, etc.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That definitely
Yeah.
makes sense.
And
Okay. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So what does a typical day look like?
Do you want the real answer or do you want the one that I should be saying?
The real answer or both, you know?
Okay. So usually I wake up at 9 o'clock, around 8 or 9 in the
Uh-huh.
morning. I
Mm-hmm.
watch Netflix, eat breakfast, have coffee for like an hour or two, and then I play video games, and then I actually start working. So
Mm-hmm.
most of my day after that point, though, is sitting on my computer until like 2 o'clock at night. So um, really, it's just like my whole life is just sitting in front of a computer, sitting in front of a laptop. I also am part of a co-working space, so I have
Mm-hmm.
a little, like I can go work from there, which is like a change of pace, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
But mostly it's just screen time, and
Mm-hmm.
whether that's on the computer or whether that's my phone.
So what would you be doing on the computer or the phone?
So really, it's looking at people's accounts, looking at stats and analytics to see
Mm-hmm.
what's performing, what's not performing,
Mm-hmm.
creating documents and deliverables and plans. So putting together strategies, looking at their competition, seeing what
Mm-hmm.
they're doing, and a lot of emailing back and forth, which is funny, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So how does why do companies need social media? How does social media help companies?
Why don't they need social media? They need social media because
Mm-hmm.
that's where people are hanging out on right now.
Mm-hmm.
People, and they also need, like, it's not an end all be all. They also need like Google AdWords and other like SEO, a really good website,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. But social media is where people are just hanging out on, chatting with friends and family. So they have to find a way to, again, not be super salesy and blend in with people
Mm-hmm.
more and build relationships. But it's so easy to use social media for customer service, for brand loyalty, brand awareness, and things like that. So I feel like if you're not on social media, you're missing the boat. And like if you're just starting now, it's almost like, is it too late? Because, all the changes to Facebook, if you just started a Facebook page, you're going to have, what is that guy? You're going to have a bad time. I don't know. It's from South Park or
Yeah.
something.
Uh-huh. Okay.
But yeah, so if you're just starting out, like you're going to have to work your butt off in
Mm-hmm.
order to find success. But really, like once you find it, your audience will serve you and they'll hire you to do things
Mm-hmm.
and they'll buy your products.
Okay. Okay. So besides yeah, okay, what is defined as social media? For me, when I think social media, I just think Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, those things. What else falls under that social media umbrella?
Tinder.
Really?
Yeah, Reddit,
Oh,
anywhere where people are talking back and forth with
uh,
each other or communicating is considered social media. So there's always like this slide that I throw up, and it's like this giant circle, and it's called the social media landscape.
mm-hmm,
And it includes blogging, it includes dating apps, it
mm-hmm,
includes the traditional, like what you were mentioning for social media.
mm-hmm,
Um, there's also like forums and things like that as well. So
mm-hmm,
everything where you're talking to someone is social media.
mm-hmm. Okay, okay. So what are the pros and cons of this profession?
Um, Cons are, well, it's not really a con for me per se,
Mm-hmm,
but because I like being alone a lot of the time. If you're working for yourself doing social media, you'll find that your in-person communication skills can like go down the garbage hole because really all you're doing is you're tweeting back and forth or you're messaging back and forth with people. Like
mm-hmm,
one of my friends who's AdWords girl who's on here now, we
mm-hmm.
never talk on the phone. We just like she'll text me, but then I'll tweet her back, but then I'll send her a Facebook message or an Instagram DM. And that's how we talk like all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I actually have to talk on the phone with a client, I sometimes find myself struggling to be less awkward or not awkward at all. And I don't know how to end conversations.
Oh, okay, okay. So everything is just pretty much done on texting and
Virtual.
okay.
Yeah. And like even with my clients, I do things virtually with them. So we'll do a video like this,
Mm-hmm,
but on a different platform.
mm-hmm,
And so I rarely have to like leave my house if I didn't want to.
mm-hmm,
I won't have to. But also like there's a lot, I guess one of the negative parts is there's a lot of people who pretend that they know social media, but then they don't know what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're taking a course and then they're like, I'm a social media expert now because I took a course at an unaccredited college. So it's kind of like educating your clients or future clients on why they should work with you versus someone who's fake.
Okay. Okay. So is this a pretty competitive industry to get into?
I would say to be kind of near the top of the industry, yes, it is competitive.
Mm-hmm.
If you are just like someone who's going to be like, hey, hire me for $99 a month,
Mm-hmm.
it's probably not that competitive for you, but the businesses have to think like, what am I getting for $99 a month?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Okay. And how easy is it to advance? So or like what's the next step after being a strategist? Like are there steps to going higher or how does it go?
There's there's like other pathways. I've never really thought about what's after strategists. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so for me, I consider myself a consultant, but
Mm-hmm.
also a strategist.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's like content marketing you can start getting into that's really
Mm-hmm.
similar to social media marketing.
Mm-hmm.
There's other facets of digital marketing that you can get into as well.
Mm-hmm.
But really, from like a social media marketing consultant strategist standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like you're that forever.
Okay, okay. Because like you said, I think you said it's like you're working for yourself, right? It's kind of
Yeah.
business. Mm-hmm.
And like even if you work at an agency, so I used to work in an agency as well,
Mm-hmm.
really what you can become is the director of social media, and basically you would just be overseeing specialists and their work that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I always like still being hands-on and still working in the trenches, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah.
So I don't think that I want to be that far away from actual work.
Mm-hmm. That definitely makes sense. Okay. So, and in regards to clients, how do you go about finding clients?
I don't find them, they find
They
me.
might, oh, that's good. So, okay.
I've been really hashtag blessed,
Uh-huh.
that clients are just, they come to me, I get a lot of referrals, and like I've been doing content marketing, which is basically writing blog posts about social media, tweeting about social media and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've never had to post like I need more clients or who would like to come work with me type thing. And I just continuously get work. Knock on wood. I hope it still continues. So yeah, like if you want to start doing social media and getting clients, the best thing you can do is get out there and network. And I hate saying networking. I just consider it meeting people. But I'm part of the digital marketing industry in Edmonton. We have meetups all the time, and I try and make an effort to be part of that community because that's also where I get referrals from as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Okay, that's pretty cool. And when you are starting out, you see that you're so smart. That's good.
That's my friend.
When you're starting out as a social media strategist, how much is the usual starting salary?
Sorry, I'm like laughing in your face.
That's
So, I mean, at an agency, you can expect to make maybe 40 grand if you're lucky per year. If you're working for yourself, like you legit, if you're just starting out, you can't charge that much because you don't know what you're doing fully yet. So yeah, $0.
Yeah.
So I always recommend like go work in an agency for a year or work under someone. Like I have an intern right now who's working with me for social media management, and I'm kind of training her. So go work with someone like that, get your feet wet and all the hands-on experience, and then after you can start charging a decent amount of money.
Okay. And at an agency, is there like a base salary or it's all based on how many people that you can bring in and help out?
So for me, at the agency I worked at, and I think it's kind of true across all agencies, at least in Edmonton, it's a base salary.
Okay.
There's a like everyone like even when I was younger, I was like, I want to work at a marketing agency. It's gonna be like so fancy, and we're gonna be like downtown and like cool and hip and stuff. But really, it's just like they make it look cool and hip so that you stay there longer or
Mhm.
so that you don't go home. So like
Mhm.
they're like, oh, we have a really great culture, but no, you don't because you force people to partake in these activities.
Uh,
So
uh-huh.
like I was just like, I don't know, agency life isn't for me, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's good to know. And in regards to jobs, where are jobs posted? Where is a good place to look for a job?
I would imagine LinkedIn is really great. I've never
Mhm.
really had to look for a job. Again,
Mhm.
hashtag blessed. But Indeed as well, Indeed.ca, you can
Mhm.
find some social media postings there.
Mhm.
There's a really, really large amount of demand for digital marketers. So people
Mhm.
who have knowledge about all facets of digital marketing. Like you'll see there's tons of jobs
Mhm.
that are open, and thankfully like some places have hired me to like act as their digital marketer in the interim before they find someone.
Mhm.
um, but yeah, like the job market, it's in demand,
Mhm.
but you really, really have to know your shit because, oh, am I allowed to swear?
It's okay.
You really, really have to know your shit, or else, like the agency's not going to hire you because agencies usually, for the most part, reputable ones know what they're talking about and know what they need in a digital marketer or social media marketer. So
Mhm.
you can't just be one of those floofy people who are like, here's my certificate, hire me now because I have a certificate.
Mhm.
Certificates don't mean anything. Schooling almost doesn't mean anything in this industry. It's just experience.
Mhm. That definitely makes sense. Okay. And not just does personal like I have an Instagram account. Does that count or like you have
I
to?
mean, it can count, but again, like
Mhm.
because you're going to be hired by businesses, it's
Mhm.
totally different.
Mhm.
So I always recommend either volunteering for a not-for-profit or nonprofit and running
Mhm.
their social media accounts, getting a paid internship somewhere, or learning under someone such as myself,
Mhm.
um, like hands-on experience with
Mhm.
businesses. And that, like, you would be surprised how much of a difference that can make when you're looking for a full-time job.
Mhm. Okay, okay. And for you, for your services, do you offer your services to startup companies as well, or there's a certain clientele that you look for?
Well, there's certain clientele that I would consider my ideal client, so
Mhm.
one with a healthy budget, obviously. Um, but I do have courses and workbooks and things that I target towards small businesses.
Mhm.
And I also, like, I do work with some startups, but again, like, I'm not the type to take a pay cut just because a startup wants to work with me. Because it's kind of like I could either work with them or I like they can pay me to work with them, but I'm
Yeah.
never like those people who are like, "Can I pick your brain for coffee?" I'm like, "No, you can pay me for coffee." um, so it's kind of just like knowing your worth is really important in this industry as well.
Mhm.
But yeah, I work with all different sorts of businesses. I even work with some mom and pop businesses. I work with a
Mhm.
clothing company in the UK, so I
Mhm.
have a lot of different clients.
Okay, okay, that's good to know. And the last question that I have, so what advice would you give someone who is thinking of going into this profession?
Don't do it. No, I'm just kidding. Um, Make sure
Hmm.
you can, that fake it till you make it thing.
Yeah.
You can do that, but
Mhm.
other people who have been in this industry for longer can call you out on it and then shut you down basically. Like I've seen business agencies or digital marketing agencies pop up,
Mhm.
and then people on Twitter will attack them and then they shut down. And that person is like out already of the digital marketing world because it's like we just called you out on your crap.
Yeah.
So really like know it sounds so mean and negative, but like know your place.
Uh-huh.
Like don't be charging $1,100 a month for social media management if you're just starting. And like if you haven't done Facebook ads, don't make businesses pay you to do Facebook ads because obviously you've never done them. The business has never done them. What are they getting out of paying you? Nothing.
Okay. It definitely makes sense. That definitely makes sense. Okay. So it's a pretty tough industry. You have to kind of know how much to
You
charge.
have,
Mhm.
yeah, you have to bring, for me personally, you have to bring your A game.
Mhm.
You have to like be the Beyonce of social media. So you have to be tough and
Mhm.
you have to have like that tough exterior in order to survive.
Mhm.
Because it's always changing. It's
Yeah.
always changing. And
Mhm.
like social media moves so fast. One day you could be just blacklisted for some reason. Like maybe you lashed out at someone online or something, and then your business, it just totally goes to shit.
Yeah.
So
Oh wow. Okay. That's good to know. Well, that's all the questions that I have for you today. Is there anything else you want to add on before we finish?
People can visit me on my
Mhm.
website at hellobeverly.com, and that's
Mhm.
Beverly with an Ley. I have a bunch of courses and workbooks up there that are available for sale,
Mhm.
and you can follow me on social media. And Amit is the coolest, aka AdWords girl, because she's my homegirl on here. Thank you for joining, Amit.
Thank you. Hmm. Okay.
But I mean, yeah. Oh, shout out to Leroy because he's the one who got me on here.
Yeah,
So that was cool meeting him.
definitely. Okay, so we have your we have your website and your social media. So definitely put that on the platform as well. So thank you so much for coming on today and educating us and answering our questions about this profession. It's a really cool